I'd like to introduce Sandi Anams, and she needs no introduction. She's an internationally renowned researcher, activist, broadcaster, writer. I'm in awe of Sandi and everything she's done over the last 17 years. So thank you for inviting us to your beautiful home and your lovely study here. So over the last 17 years, you've been researching all about agenda, which is now 2030, which was originally 2021. There's probably nobody that knows the subject like Sandi. And today we will be talking about, we will be discussing about World Heritage Status in Glastonbury in particular, but talking about other sites as well. So thank you, Sandi.
Thanks very much, Amanda. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
So what is your connection, Sandi, to Glastonbury?
I came here in 2009, and my life had changed, and I was working in the corporate world, and I'd been working for big corporations and not been very happy working in that psychopathic, environment. And I could see those corporations for what they were. And one of the jobs I did was actually creating a mini smart city in London for Bill Gates, and he came and looked at it, and I had to shake his hand. And it was a mini smart city. It was a London Square. It was called Microsoft Life Squared. It was called, and I've still got all the photographs of it. And Trevor McDonald came to interview him on the sofa in that installation, and it was an installation. And I just got these feelings. I suddenly saw the future, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I was also at the same time working for Google, and they were going along the same way. And I just found it just too much. And I began to question why I was working in that industry, particularly when I was working for GlaxoSmithKline, and they were talking about penetrating the Ayurvedic market, and that was just, for me, that was the end of it. And I kind of had this breakthrough. I changed my life. My marriage broke down. My children were off at university, and I just sold the house and bought the first house I could find at auction that I liked. And I didn't know anything about this town. And here I am. And I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't come here, to be honest. I think something happened when I came here, and it was almost like it was like a mission. And that's what happened. And I started researching into where all this was going, where it's come from, the technocracy movement of the 1930s right up to present day. I saw all the key actors who are bringing in Zbigniew Brzezinski and all the main, and Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. And you see the whole picture. And that's what brought me here. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Amazing. And how did you first hear about the World Heritage Site proposal in Glastonbury?
Well,
do you remember?
I think it was last year when they actually came clean and told the public about it. I think prior to that, they'd known about it for a year, and they'd employed consultants to do a scoping exercise without any consultation with the local people at all. Yeah.
Oh. So do you know of any other sites worldwide that have attained World Heritage Status?
There's a lot of them. I mean, there's some that I know did have problems with it. For instance, Uluru in Australia, Ayers Rock. The indigenous people were overlooked in all the consultation process. And I think what happened is it got to the point where they were allowing people to go up Ayers Rock, and the indigenous people have, it's a sacred site, and they weren't happy about having the volume of people going up there. And so I think what happened is there was erosion, there was damage done to the rock, and eventually the World Heritage even said that it was a danger to have people walking up there, so they reversed it. And the indigenous people were allowed then to have it for their sacred ceremonies and to not have that volume going up there. There was also, I think it was the island of Lamu, off the coast of it's off the coast of Tanzania, and it's a tiny island. But that, again, it was a Swahili town, and all the cultural stuff was overlooked, and it became big business. There were Airbnbs, that, you know, for a tiny little island, and they've had trouble with people not being able to. The cultural heritage of that island was overlooked, and it became very much about the money and the people coming in, the tourism, the hotels, everything, and not about the people that lived there either. You know, if it wasn't even balanced. I think there's also Venice. Venice suddenly cruise ships were coming in, and it upset the ecosystem of the lagoon. Lots of problems with Venice. And yeah, and I think there's which other one? Oh, Machu Picchu. Again, Machu Picchu had terrible problems with over tourism, and the volume of people coming, and also the technocratic infrastructure that they put in. The 5G towers go up the minute any WHS site is made. They bring in all the stuff so that people can use their smartphones, and the whole infrastructure changes. So and that's not good for the nature, for the biodiversity, for anything. So all of it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. Well, it does if you know the long-term agenda, which we might talk about later. But at the moment, you think, well, they're all about biodiversity and looking after the infrastructure and the sustainability of these places. But actually, if you look at what they're doing, it's actually destroying it. So it doesn't make sense, and there's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what do you think the impact of World Heritage Status would be on Glastonbury itself?
Well, I think this is what we've put forward at some of the consultations that they've had. For a start, it makes property unaffordable for local people to rent or buy. The property prices have gone up, the rentals have gone through the roof, and you get investors coming in, buying the properties and turning them into Airbnbs. So that isn't good. Also, the sheer volume of tourism, we can't sustain that. It's difficult now, you know, with the restaurants that we have, they get overwhelmed in the summer. Everything is it's overwhelmed, and we just manage now. If it was a World Heritage Status for a small town, it wouldn't be sustainable at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the toilets don't even
They
work very
can't
properly.
even clean them, to be honest. I mean, the local council, how they think they'll manage with this huge influx of people, I don't know, because as you say, the toilets are in a terrible state.
So what are your greatest fears about the World Heritage Status coming to Glastonbury?
I think it's just the overwhelm of people, and I think also the fact that these are sacred sites. You know, that they've taken over Stonehenge and Avebury as well, and it's would the local people be stopped from maybe having their ceremonies on the tour, or, you know, in any of these places? I mean, we've already seen the changes that have happened to the Abbey since they got the town deal, and that has, I mean, it's changed the energy of the place. It's they've suddenly, the gift shop is full of Chinese, you know, stuff, not local, you know, almost like the mythical stuff. You used to have the tapestries from King Arthur. All of that's gone. There's not even a Bible in there. There's not even a Bible in the Abbey bookshop. So it's become very secular. It's become very very commercial, and they've also put in a lot more infrastructure to maintain the technology. I don't know if they've got virtual reality headsets. I haven't been in there. I can't bring myself to go in there now.
No.
So I don't know. But they were talking about that. I really don't know. But I do know that it's far more connected as far as capability of 5G is, because they will need that if they've got the Japanese tourists coming in.
Yeah. And so, would there be any benefits at all to World Heritage coming here?
Personally, I don't think so. We're doing very well on our own as it is. I mean, it's a lovely town. The balance is right. We've got people coming in the summer in their droves, and they're walking up the tour, and they're able to bang a drum if they want to, you know, have a little ceremony, do whatever they want to do without any restrictions. I think when you get WHS, you will get restrictions on everything. And whether that will mean access to the tour, we don't know. But it would be awful if what happened to, for instance, Newgrange. Newgrange now, you cannot access it unless you book up 12 weeks in advance. And if you if you leave it, the longer you leave it, the more it costs you. If you book early, you get a better deal, but you can't go there unless you book 12 weeks in advance. Now, I went there gosh, I suppose it must have been before the pandemic. I went to Newgrange, and you could just pay as you go in, walk around the sacred site. It was wonderful. You could go in the chambers. Apparently, it's all changed now. You have to book. You can't go there without booking. And who books 12 weeks in advance? You can't just turn up anymore. And that it will be paid. I do believe that they will charge you to go up the tour if this happens. And will it be a sort of booking only thing? You know, will you then, so the locals can't just go up there on a full moon or do whatever you want to, because it will be a booking system in the same way as everything changed during COVID, and you have to book to go for a swim at the local pool now. It's mad. But this is the way that they're going, because they want to track and trace you. The minute you book it, they've got all your details. This is the whole way it's going. Yeah.
And so why should it be stopped now, Sandi? This moment.
This moment. Because it's against everything that Glastonbury stands for. I mean, we are a bit of a free thinking town, and we want it to be free. We want it to be as it's always been. And people say, oh, that's a bit, you're being a bit, like a dinosaur. But this technology isn't doing us any favors at all. And in fact, it's restricting us. And it will restrict us. And this is why they want it, because there is a plan, I think, to take over every sacred site in the world, and they're doing very well at this. And I've just had a letter, actually, because I spoke about this on the UK column, because I present with UK column every Monday, and I did a thing on the WHS and what happened at the consultation. And I got a letter from a man in Italy, and he's heavily involved in the tourist industry in Italy. He's a historian. He's a very learned man. He's written this incredible paper on what's happening in Italy with Rome, Venice, and Florence. And they've been turned into what they call arts cities, which are very much like 15-minute cities, but it's all about the culture, and how his city actually stood still in Venice for Jeff Bezos's, the millionaire Jeff Bezos, his wedding, and how they took over the whole city. And it was done with QR codes and surveillance, and he suddenly saw that these art cities are going the same way. And it's almost as though they've done this thing where they overload with the tourists, and then they say, this is all too much, it's problem, reaction, solution. All these tourists, it's all too much, because it would be if it would overwhelm here. And then they say, right, in that case, we're closing it down, and only the rich will be able to actually access these sites. And he confirmed what I found with and people can look this up. I mean, don't take my word for it, please, because we're always being told we're making all of this up. But if you look at it's called the United Nations World Tourist Organization. Go to their website, and they are talking quite openly about digital tourism, about virtual tourism, and how this is the way forward to help sustainability, because we awful people will overwhelm these sites, and you can access these sites on a virtual reality headset from the comfort of your own smart city apartment. And the rich and famous will have the real deal. They'll be able to go to these places. And this guy in Italy hit the nail on the head. He's a very, very clever guy, and he's written a whole paper about this. So I think, this is the way it's going if we're not careful. And this is why we have to fight with all our might. We're human and we want a human experience. And we don't need masses of tourists in a small town like this.
No.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Sandy? Any things that you might like that people could do if they,
I think just do your research. Please look at art cities. Look at the United Nations World Tourist Organization, because they are behind the WHS through UNESCO, and it's that plan. And if you look, they have got sections on their website where they're talking about the future of tourism from 2040 onwards is virtual. So there you go. That's all I want to say, I think.
Wow, mind-blowing.
Sorry, I mean, it's quite depressing.
No, but it's the truth.
And this march towards AI is just absolutely something that we've got to stop. The digital ID, the AI, and everything that goes with it. It's not serving the people, it's taking over and reducing the people. And unfortunately, this is the world we're living in at the moment, with these mad people in charge who actually, if you look at Noah Yuval Harari, whatever his name is, the advisor to Klaus Schwab, he says from 20 up to 2040, 2050, we want not to have a biological world. We want a totally inorganic world, which they're talking about AI and robots.
And he called us hackable animals.
Hackable animals, indeed. I mean, that's really worth looking at. If you can, go onto YouTube, type in Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, hackable animals, and the whole thing comes up. And he actually says, the human being is over. The human being is over. So we've got to. This is evil. This is evil beyond evil, and we have to. And Glastonbury is a place of deep spirituality. The first Christian church was built here, and this, we're fighting evil against good. And we've just got to keep up the fight, because what happens here happens everywhere.
True.
And that's why we have to. It really does. Everything radiates out, and I've experienced this myself personally. And whatever happens here happens throughout the world, and that isn't that's not something crazy in my brain. I know it because of the energy lines that we have here, and it's very important that we fight this here for everywhere.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing all your knowledge and your passion.
Thank you for asking me. It's brilliant. Thank you very much.